Hi everyone, it's been a very big weekend. Been lots of work on the router table behind me. We've got Carol's daughter over, which is pretty good. I haven't seen her for ages. She's down from Queensland. And yeah, so what you're about to see is a bit of a cut together of all the various bits and pieces, some of the beginnings of the ideas, the ends of the ideas. Yeah, we're moving along and hopefully get some of this stuff done very quickly. Well, here we are, Sunday night. The router, as far as I'm concerned, is done. That's what it looks like from here. I'll move it back so I can see from a height. Let's have a look at some of the bits. There's the Arduino with the gerbil shield, if that's what we're going to call it. It does a pretty good job. Big red button comes in very handy. We've discovered a few times recently. Tucked in under here is the PC, which is all nicely out of the way. It's not particularly fantastic. In fact, it's old and quite a nasty piece of equipment, but it does the job, so that's all we need. Over here we've got the spindle, which is the one that was provided when I bought the Shapeoko kit. Again, nothing particularly flash. Some people might be asking, what is that piece of aluminium sticking out of the side of the spindle? Well, that's my webcam mount. My webcam is just here. It's a Logitech cheap nasty piece of work, and I've rewired it onto a big silver shielded USB cable which I had lying around. So that's all hooked up there. The webcam gives me pictures of the spindle head that look like this. I'm going to try and include those in some of my videos. If I'm really good, I'll probably start putting one in about now as we walk through the rest of it. Here's the keyboard and the mouse and the power controller. They are stuck on with a piece of elastic so that when I flip the table down that nothing falls off. And I'll try and do that now. I've never done it with one hand before. So the table folds down, so I've got a little bit of extra space. The mouse mat and the keyboard and all those, the mouse and the power controller are all nicely secure there. Oh, we have been playing with this tonight, and it does a pretty good cut. Nothing spectacular at this stage. What else? There is a dip in the centre of the table, which is quite disappointing because I didn't want one. Hi everyone. Today what we're doing is we're going to cut the top of the router table with all the holes that I want. I want to use the little plugs, the silver plugs that you can get to hold up shelves. I want to use those as part of my lockdown mechanism. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a bunch of holes into the top of the table, and then drop the holes in. Now those holes are going to be drilled about every 3 centimetres, a bit over an inch for everyone else. So what you can hear in the background at the moment, what you can see is just doing a trial run to make sure that everything sort of lines up properly. So the idea is that this little studs will press into the top of the table, yeah, and then they'll be used to hold things in place. They'll basically press up against this. I'll set up some clamps on the other side using these as mountings, and then we'll lock those in. I'll be using these little lockdown clamps, and that'll lock it down and then that'll hold it in place. There's the end for those as well. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just, yeah, as I said, running a quick test to make sure that it actually all ends up in the right places, and once that's done then we'll go from there. Thanks. Well, this is the new and improved tabletop. The router is over there in the corner at the moment, just resting. But the new and improved router top, I found that no matter what I did, I ended up having slopes in my table, and my table is horribly not flat. which is quite disappointing. I've had to put a new piece of material down. I thought I'd use a piece of melamine. Thought I'd use the melamine because it was going to be reasonably tough and hopefully maintain its flatness a lot better. I was wrong. Melamine's just like the rest of them, it bends with whatever it's sitting on. So what I've had to do this afternoon is level it. And leveling it has been a bit of a challenge, and it's going to be difficult to see. But what I've had to do is I've had to drill holes in my original tabletop. I've put bolts through those holes, and then from underneath, there you can see a couple, I've been able to micro adjust the whole thing. So by doing those bolts up and down, I can then basically adjust the height of the table. As you can see along the front here, the corners are much more in need of adjustment than the centre. Down the other end is pretty bad. The interesting thing was that this corner down here is quite a few centimetres or actually probably about a centimetre not flat. There you can see all the bolts sticking through to support the tabletop. But it is now 100% level and it is 100% flat, and I'm very, very glad of that. I did have to put some screws down this side because there was a bow just there. So I think that's been from where it's been stored, there's been a bit of a bow. So with the screws in there, it's actually been able to pull that back down, and the bow's now gone, which is fantastic. So tomorrow night's project will be to put the router back on top of here, and then put the cutting board in underneath that. So that's tomorrow's project. To do this, I've actually had to pull the computer out, which is now sitting up here, and the table where the desk was before has also been removed, so I've got to put that back in as well. So this week is going to be fairly busy with a few different projects. Hopefully it's going to go better. But anyway, that's it. One last thing, I'll put some new lights up just above the router table, and that's surprisingly good when it's actually plugged in and turned on. Already got the tripod out to mount these lights back on. So these are the lights. Now they're on. And they make a huge difference to the lighting in that space. I'll just turn them off again, and we can see. As you can see, there's quite a bit of difference in the lighting. So when that all comes up, I think that's going to be rather good. I don't think I'm going to need any more than that one there. Means I've got two more for other places. I think I might put one here in the middle of the room. Alrighty, that's it for tonight. I'm going to pack up, go back inside, download these, see what we can do. Alrighty, bye now.